All right, what's up? Welcome to the Alex Olinger podcast. We're booting this up today. It's a Sunday, right before President's Day. I'm gonna put this out on President's Day for the presidents. Give it up for the presidents out there. You know, you might not like them. They might have committed war crimes or genocides, but they're still your president. You know, I kind of feel like everybody's got that one friend. Everybody's got that cocaine friend. He gets a little too hammered. You know what I mean? He's out doing crazy stuff all the time, making it awkward for you and your Middle Eastern friends. He can't say anything polite. You know, he's always putting his foot in his mouth, causing problems for everybody. But he's your friend. You know what I mean? And sometimes when people come at him, you get a little defensive. You go, but that's our cocaine buddy. That's our guy in the group that's going to cause a lot of problems. And maybe he doesn't need to be in the driver's seat, but, he's ours. So clap it up for the presidents. Or don't. Just be a liberal. Liberals don't clap for presidents. I don't think liberals have clapped for any president since Jimmy Carter. That's a big liberal thing, just hating the president. And now it's become like a conservative thing. It didn't used to be. Conservatives used to back, it seemed like they used to back presidents. They'd be like, well, it's our president. He's your president, and you got to support the president no matter what. And at a certain point, I think it was around the time one of the presidents became black, they were like, that ain't our president. This is a goddamn conspiracy. This is a lie. He's not from this country. I ain't clapping for the president. He's not a legitimate president. I think that's when it happened. Jimmy Carter, dirty little hippie, but at least he's from this country. It was as soon as we switched, as soon as the black community got one in the basket, they were like, this game's over. We're done with this. All right, that's a good start to the podcast, isn't it? Just calling a group of people racist, a group of people that I don't know entirely, just calling them racist. That's a good start. That's going to get a lot of views. I think that's what you have to do now, honestly, is just like create a ton of division and polarize people so you can get a lot of engagement into your video. As long as people are arguing and talking shit in the comments and generating hatred that they're going to basically bottle up and send into their lives later, for better, for worse, probably for worse. I mean, your video is going to do well. You just got to make people hate each other. That's part of the media game, is polarizing people and pushing them further apart and separating them from their actual conscious lives. And that's what we're here to do. Comedy used to be about laughs. But you know what it's about right now is hot takes that bother people and making people very upset to the point where they can't actually put down the cell phone or the media, whatever it is that's distracting them. They can't get away from it. Yeah, and that's what I'm here to do. No, that's a joke. I'm not here to do that. I don't really want to do the political thing with my art anymore. I'm kind of sick of it. I've tried it a little bit. I've been listening to a lot of here's the beautiful thing about Bob Dylan's early stuff is he was able to write songs about social situations and politics and things that were happening in society that were political, but he didn't really start out. It's a very fine line, but he didn't really start out with a point that he was trying to make and then made his art on top of that. He sort of just made songs very objectively. And he has this one song called Who Killed Davy Moore, and it's about this boxer, this black boxer in the 50s who he died from injuries during the fight. And a lot of people said that because the audience was all white and the managers were all white and the other boxer, I think the boxer was like Cuban, but everybody watching it was white. And they said they would have stopped if it was a white guy getting that injured, but they didn't, and they didn't apply, any, why am I losing the words on this? They didn't help him out at all. They just let him get hurt. The medics didn't seem to care. They paid no attention to him, and he ended up dying after the fight. And Bob Dylan has a song about that, and he's just like asking a question. Who killed Davy Moore? Why? What's the reason for? You kind of get like a feeling that Bob didn't agree with it, but he's not like cramming an idea or an opinion down your throat. He's sort of just listing out what happened very objectively and asking questions and making you think about that. And to me, that's a song about a political thing that happened rather than a guy trying to make his points and guising it as art, because that would be, in a way, to me, that's just propaganda. There you go. That's it. For President's Day, put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's a hot, opinionated take on propaganda, which you might be able to just call propaganda about propaganda. That we're getting a little meta here. Well, this should be fun. I should be having a fun time with this. There's a squirrel on the roof across the street. That's good. We got a lady walking on the sidewalk. I'm doing this podcast sitting outside. I'm not really outside, but I'm right by the double sliding glass doors in my bedroom, watching the cars drive by on First Street. It's a nice, beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. And as soon as I stop rambling and get to it, you know what I mean, I think we'll have a pretty good podcast going. So what's been up with me since you're so concerned? I got like sick yesterday. I was out of it. My stomach was fucked up. I wasn't feeling well. So I stayed inside with my girl and watched Hunger Games. We watched all of them. We had watched one the night before. My girlfriend's been slowly like convincing me to watch like nerdy girl movies. And I don't think there's any more of a nerdy girl movie. It's really the top two are Twilight and Hunger Games. And they all have similar, they're all from like 2010, like kind of the peak of like nerdy girl movies where like a nerdy girl would like save the day and she's in like an apocalyptic wasteland. It's either that or like a werewolf wants to fuck her and she can't decide who she needs to fuck. That's a big part of every nerdy girl movie. Is there's like a love triangle with two dudes that she can't decide who to fuck. That happened in The Notebook too. Actually, just put that as a staple down for any chick movie. Is two dudes want to fuck her, she can't decide, and they have to like compete for her love. And if you flip-flop that, people get pissed. If it's a dude with like three chicks trying to fuck him and he's like playing them around while he's trying to save the day, that's like inappropriate now. But apparently it's cool if Jennifer Lawrence does it in the Hunger Games. What other characteristics do nerdy girl movies have? Oh yeah, every main character fucking whispers and mumbles. Like they're like too cool to talk, or they're just so like sexually involved and horny during these movies that they can't get the words out of their face. It's really wild. Also, every bad guy in those movies is like a white dude with blonde hair. He was like 6 foot tall and muscular. And then one of them like ends up being cool by the end of it, but they always got like a evil guy is always a white dude with blonde hair every time. The thing about the Hunger Games too is all the presidents of the districts that are when they like start the revolution, they have all the presidents of the districts. They're all women. And that wouldn't be the case. I hate to break it to you ladies, but there'd be one of them would be a guy, I'd say. And you'd say, oh, why is that? I don't know. Statistically, there's 13 of them. I think one of the leaders of the districts would be a guy. Here's what's crazy, though, is like they get to a scene where all the leaders are talking about how to start the revolution, or they're trying to like take over some base, and the people with the ideas that actually get it done are the guys. So I don't know. Maybe ask them what they're thinking too. All right, here we go. Dividing people again. You can't have a take these days without one group getting offended. Here we go. This is the start of this becoming a right-wing podcast, as I just start with the Hunger Games, and it fucking devolves into weird ranting about how trans people shouldn't be swimming in pools or something. That's how it starts. I don't know. I watched all of them. I watched all the Hunger Games. I would say it's not great, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I mean, if it was airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, it'd be one of the better movies that's on there. But that's sci-fi. It's for nerds. It's a nerd kind of movie. It's got like nerdy situations. You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman was a beast. I always love seeing him in a movie. Also, another little address fact about the Hunger Games: every black character pretty much dies. They're all the coolest ones that actually like help out, and they just kill them off. 3 of them. You know, you got Lenny Kravitz, gay dude. It's not really stated, but he's got some gay energy to him. He's got like makeup on and stuff. He's the one designing her dresses. They kill him. You got Rue. I'm just gonna spoil it. If you haven't seen it at this point, it's not. I don't think it's gonna ruin your day. You know, it came out like 15 years ago, or like 10 years ago. I don't know. I get a decade. I'm just gonna spoil it. Rue, the little black chick, she dies, and then Boggs, the guy who kind of is on to the fact that the lady leading the revolution is not so moral. You know, and she's also corrupt, which is obvious, by the way. Anybody that's like leading a revolution, be suspicious of them. The cat's fucking whining. Hey, stop it. I'll feed you in a little bit. I'm talking about the Hunger Games right now, and it's important. People need to hear this. Don't fucking meow at me, dude. I have 19 subscribers. Okay, they need to hear me ramble about the Hunger Games for no reason. Yeah, Boggs, black dude, they blow his legs off. And he's like the one that kind of helps save the day. He's like, don't trust anybody. And you're like, thanks, cool black man. I won't trust anybody. That's always the black people got the best advice, man. You'd be like in the apocalypse, starting the revolution. And he's like, don't trust any of these crackers. And you're like, yeah, no, that's a good idea. But then, you know, the industry is what it is, so they have to blow his legs off and kill him. And they can't really let any black people, unless it's a lady, survive to the end, you know. But that's tough shit. Let's talk about Twilight. I don't know what that movie is. Hot sack of garbage. I watched, I think, one of them with my girlfriend, and I was like, we're done with this. I don't care how mad you get. I'm not doing the chick who can't decide who to fuck. It's the whole movie. She sucks, by the way. That main character, really just a useless human who is just too, like, brain dead and horny to really make her own decisions. I think... You know what's crazy is like a lot of nerdy girls, I'd say they're primarily liberal. They're not like Fox News chicks. They're not out on a boat. You know, they're not on 6th Street doing tequila shots and riding the bull in cowboy boots. They're not doing bachelorette parties. You know, they're not getting hammered and hooking up with 6-foot-tall meatheads, you know, that look like Jake Paul. They're doing more liberal, nerdy stuff. They're in their room just reading books by themselves, you know, reading young adult fiction when they're 45. They're owning several cats at the same time. They have them in their house. These Twilight they're liberal chicks, you know what I mean? And I would say Some of them probably feminists too, and it's I gotta say, Twilight, one of the least feminist movies I've ever seen. I mean, that chick is a brain dead, vapid, stupid woman who ditches high school entirely. She's not doing any classwork. And then she's just got two dumb meatheads trying to compete over her with no plot, no substance. I mean, it's a trash movie, and it shouldn't be shown to young women as anything that they should aspire to or want to be. You know, she's got one dude that's like nice to her in the high school, but she's not attracted to him. Why? Because he's not a blood-sucking, rich vampire. Is that who you want your daughters to hang out with? Blood-sucking vampires, rich people, a dead man who died when he was 17, but he's like dead, but he's like alive for some reason. You know what I mean? And she just has to like have sex with this guy. And then there's this other like fake nice guy who's a werewolf, who's like weirdly like mean and abusive, but he looks like he's like 12. He looks like a 12-year-old on HGH steroids. I mean, it just get a job, lady. Go with the dude who's cool, who's actually doing his classwork. You know what I mean? Like, set up a life for yourself. Quit talking to these fucking weirdos. But she can't. She won't stop because she's bored, and she has no like inner substance or soul. She has no humanity. So she just needs the validation of men that are mutant creatures that are way too busy, and it's disgusting. My daughter's never. If I have a daughter, she's not gonna watch that shit until she's 18. When she leaves my house, she can watch Twilight, but I'm gonna teach her how to take care of herself, you know, and find like a dude who has time for her and is a decent guy and actually listens to her instead of running around chasing whatever like desires she has that just come up whimsically in the moment. It's not even love, it's lust. The whole thing is lust. She's like, I love you. It's like, dude, you've known me for 10 minutes. You're 15, whatever, you're horny, just stop it. Just go back to class. Her dad is constantly putting up with her shit. She's having weird, horny nightmares. She's waking up in a cold sweat. I fucking hate it. I really hate that movie. I think it's a terrible message for everybody involved. And by the way, I'll say this just openly, and I don't know how it's going to be received on the other end, but I've watched the movies. I'm Team Edward. I'm on the vampire's side. Because this dude, I was watching this fucking guy, he dies when he's 17. He's like suspended between death and living. I don't know, for like 100-something years. He's a part of a rich vampire family. They have like stuff they have to do. They got to keep people alive. They got to like make sure nobody's like eating the wrong people because they're all like blood-sucking monsters. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's going to Spain. He's got like a small business or something. I don't know what he's doing. But it seems like he's fucking busy. And then this chick in high school shows up. It's around his age. That's a weird thing. Is it pedophilia? Is it not? That's the whole thing about this movie. There's a lot of like gray area where you're like, is this cool? Is it not? Is it abuse? Is it gaslighting? Or are they just confused? We don't really know. But I would say it's not, because he died at 17. So he's been 17 like for 100 years, right? So he could have a relationship with a 16-year-old. I mean, his brain's not developing anymore. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I would say go for it because it's clearly made up and it's a movie. If it was real life, there'd be other questions too, like why are you still in the same grade you've been in for the past 100 years? Also, why are you in high school? You have like a ton of money. Just like get your GED and leave, dude. It's weird. You like look clearly not like a high school student at all. This person's clearly 35 in a high school. Let's get him out of here. Anyways, I'm on this guy's side. They had a whole thing. Are you on Team Edward or are you Team Jacob? I'm definitely more on the side of the vampire who clearly has a career. And this chick just shows up and he's like, yeah, I like you too. But if I bite you, it's going to turn you into a vampire. It's like a whole thing. Just like leave me alone. And then what she does is she's so upset about it, she just proceeds to think up scenarios in which she's going to like kill herself, like riding a motorcycle too fast, doing some other dumb shit. And he has to keep going back, really taking time out of his day. He has to keep going back and stopping her. And they're like, girls are like, he's gaslighting her. It's like, she is an idiot. Again, with no soul and no thoughts. She needs to leave this vampire alone and stop trying to kill herself on purpose just so he comes back. It's like she's abusive. These guys aren't gaslighting her. You got this weird like werewolf guy who's like a fake nice guy, and this poor vampire that's rich and didn't sign up for this is like, dude, I can't sleep with you. I would like to, but I can't. So you need to like go do something else. And she refuses. She's like, you know what I'm going to do? Try to kill myself several times. He's like, all right, well now I like know you. We went to Applebee's one time. We held hands. One time we almost kissed in the woods, which was completely unnecessary because there was like other places to do that. But now I feel bad, and now I'm going to have to like try to not have you kill yourself, you annoying, stupid idiot. Really one of my least favorite characters of all time. So, nerdy girl movies, what are they? They're horny fantasies for chicks from the ages of high school to 35. Horny fantasies and power fantasies of somehow like starting a revolution kind of by yourself, while two guys that want to fuck you help you out but don't get any credit for it. And that's what the movies are. You get all the credit for all the things that a bunch of dudes do. And you get to pick who to fuck in the end. And then they put some babies in you. That's what happens in the Hunger Games. I'm not like making this shit up. And in all fairness, if you flip the script on it, for the guys, it's kind of the same movie. A bunch of women want to fuck you, and you're like, dude, I just have to be James Bond. That's crazy. I just have to like save the day. And the whole thing is just unrealistic. None of these movies they're complete fantasies. None of them are realistic. And they just get off on people's loneliness and their horniness. And it's a ploy to get you to pay $25 for a bucket of popcorn and to spend 3 hours of your life and $15 watching a movie so you don't have to live in your own reality for a while. I wouldn't even say it's good fiction or fantasy at all. Twilight or, Hunger Games is a medium. Hunger Games is mid. I'll give it that. But I will say there's no reason she should have arrows the whole time. You'd think that would be, they're like, these are explosive arrows. Yeah, have you ever heard of a fucking bazooka? Could you give me a gun? Since this is like a communist revolution we're about to start. Does it have to be arrows the whole time? Maybe a sword or something. One guy dies because he's got a fucking axe at the end. And he's fighting these like demon, like lizard creatures or whatever they are. I don't know what they look gross. I guess they're called mutts. To give the guy a machine gun. Quit making him use the axe. Now he's dead because he had to fight 20 creatures with an axe. It's a lot of holes, but what are you going to do? Like I said, you're horny. You have like not a lot of power in your life because you work at Starbucks. You want to have a fantasy. You want to go out there and watch something that's not realistic at all and turn your brain off for a long time. And I guess, so there, give them an axe. Make it a lady Make all the presidents ladies. Why not? Make all the leaders ladies and kill all the black dudes. You know, since this is going to be a nerd girl fantasy, why the fuck not? All right, well, that's about it for the podcast. Enjoy your President's Day. Have a good day. Live your life. Be fucking cool about it. And I'll catch you next week. Thank you very much, everybody.